just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now. This is America's Voice Live.
And welcome to America's Voice Live. I'm Steve Gruber.
The pulse of the people.
We need somebody that's going to hear the people's voice.
The truth the mainstream won't touch.
This guy is by definition a globalist.
And the stories that matter.
RAV's own Ben Berquam.
Right up over this hill, yellow arm cartel. I see him.
Live.
Breaking news right now here on Real America's Voice.
Unfiltered.
These people are domestic terrorists.
And unapologetic.
We're here to take a stand for God and country. Does feel good, doesn't it?
America's Voice Live starts now.
And welcome to America's Voice Live. I'm Steve Gruber. It is Tuesday, the 17th of February. In the year of our Lord 2026, it's Fat Tuesday. Let's get into today's top stories. As always, thank you for joining us here today. Nuclear talks between the United States and Iran resumed today in Geneva, Switzerland, after negotiations that began earlier this month entered a critical new phase, but it seems Iran has started testing its military amid heightened U.S. military presence. A lot of details on that coming up also. I'll discuss the ongoing search for Nancy Guthrie. Now 17 days on, as investigators continue to compile evidence, the nation continues to wait anxiously along with the Guthrie family. We'll go live to Tucson, Arizona for the latest, and then later. A Rhode Island hockey game turned deadly Monday as Robert Dorgan, tied to family and gender disputes, opened fire, leaving multiple people dead, including his ex-wife and one of his sons. All that and more coming your way on today's show. But first, I need to get something off my chest because I've got a bone to pick with these so-called progressive Democrats who think they can remake America in the image of their utopian fantasies. Take Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, the self-styled champion of the working class who just called for the expeditious rollout of a wealth tax at the Munich Security Conference. Here she is.
Are you going to impose a wealth tax or a billionaire's tax?
I don't think that I don't think that anyone, and that we don't have to wait for any one president to impose a wealth tax. I think that it needs to be done expeditiously.
Yes, AOC as your president of these United States would be even more disastrous than a wealth tax. She's out there preaching that we need to eat the rich, redistribute everything, and build some kind of socialist paradise where the government controls the purse strings. But that's called what it is. A tired rerun of a system that has failed everywhere it's been tried, everywhere. A system that's collapsing right now in places like Cuba, Venezuela, and heck, it even toppled the mighty Soviet Union despite their delusions of grandeur. These Democrats are peddling poison, and it's time we expose it for what it is. I meant what I said yesterday. I believe Cuba is going to fall, and soon. If you want a real-time horror show of what happens when you go full throttle on this communist collectivist nonsense, look no further than the island just 90 miles from Florida. Marco Rubio correctly explained the problem with Cuba in an interview with Bloomberg while he was in Munich over the weekend. Here's part of what he said.
Cuba's fundamental problem is that it has no economy, and its economic model is one that has never been tried and has never worked anywhere else in the world. Okay, it doesn't have a real economic policy. It doesn't have a real economy. Not to forget, put aside for a moment the fact that it has no freedom of expression, no democracy, anything, no respect for human rights. The fundamental problem Cuba has is it has no economy, and the people who are in charge of that country, in control of that country, they don't know how to improve the everyday life of their people without giving up power over sectors that they control. They want to control everything. They don't want the people of Cuba to control anything. So they don't know how to get themselves out of this. And to the extent that they've been offered opportunities to do it, they don't seem to be able to comprehend it or accept it in any ways. They would much rather be in charge of the country than allow it to prosper.
All of these people claim to be for the people until they're actually in power, which is exactly what happened in Cuba back in 1959 and 60. Cuba now teetering on the edge of total collapse, and it's not pretty. They've got no fuel, no tourists, no cash. The whole place is grinding to a stop. Just this week, they had to suspend their annual cigar festival because of a crippling energy crisis sparked by dwindling oil supplies. Oil imports from Venezuela dried up after Washington finally toppled that socialist regime 6 weeks ago, cutting off Cuba's lifeline. Blackouts are rampant. Food shortages are everywhere, and the UN is now warning of a possible humanitarian crisis and collapse. The government is rationing fuel, cutting electricity for just a couple of hours, and even the tourism revenue, once a cash cow, is all but gone. People are fleeing in droves. Some 5,000 Cubans hitting the high seas or borders just to escape the misery. And get this, Mexico now having to send humanitarian aid ships to keep the lights on, literally. This isn't some abstract theory. It's the death rattle of a communist experiment that's been suffocating under its own weight for decades. And Rubio says it's going to continue until Cubans are granted economic freedom and freedom in general. Here he is.
Is there any kind of off-ramp for the regime? I mean, previous ones, when you negotiated with Venezuela, you said if they agreed with various things, it would be possible to continue.
There is. I mean, look, I think you have to...
What could the Cuban regime do?
Well, I'm not going to tell you or announce this in an interview here, because obviously these things require space and time to do it in the right way. But I will say this, that it is important for the people of Cuba to have more freedom, not just political freedom, but economic freedom. The people of Cuba, and that's what this regime is not willing to give them, because they're afraid that if the people of Cuba can provide for themselves, they lose control over them, they lose power over them.
Let me be clear about this. Government handouts are nothing more than a noose around the neck of the poor, waiting to be tightened when the government sees fit. Cuba's leaders thought they could defy reality with their central planning and state control, but reality always wins. The island is facing its worst crisis ever, a socioeconomic catastrophe that's got them cornered into desperate dialogues with the United States. If that's the model that AOC and her crew want for America, they can pack their bags and head south themselves for a vacation in Havana. But Cuba's not alone in this hall of shame. Remember Venezuela? Once the richest country in South America, fifth richest in the world, blessed with oil wealth that could make kings jealous. Then Hugo Chavez and his successor, Nicolas Maduro, came along with their Bolivarian revolution, nationalizing industries, price controls, wealth redistribution, the whole socialist playbook. What happened? Well, hyperinflation, which turned into empty shelves, mass starvation, millions fleeing the country, hospitals without medicine, gangs running the streets. It's a failed state, plain and simple. And the Soviet Union, for 7 decades, they strutted around like they owned the future with their 5-year plans and collective farms. They believed in their own immortality, convinced that communism was the inevitable march of history. But what did we see? Breadlines, gulags, economic stagnation, and finally in 1991, the whole empire crumbled like a house of cards. Mikhail Gorbachev tried to patch it up, but it was too little too late. The people had had enough of the lies and the poverty. These systems don't work because they crush the human spirit, stifle innovation, and reward bureaucrats over builders and citizens. Now let's talk about these Democrats pushing this garbage. AOC, Jasmine Crockett, and their ilk. They love to play the victim card, claiming they grew up poor, scraping by to justify their war on wealth. But pull back the curtain, and you'll see they've benefited immensely from the very capitalist systems they demonize every day. Take AOC. Born in the Bronx, sure, but her family moved to upscale Yorktown Heights when she was just 5, where the average resident makes well over 6 figures. Her dad was an architect who ran his own small business. Classic American entrepreneurship. AOC then went off to Boston University and graduated with degrees in economics and international relations. Shocking, I know. But that are the fruits of a free market education system. She's not from the projects. She's from the suburbs, leveraging the West's opportunities to launch her career. And Jasmine Crockett, daughter of a reverend in St. Louis, she didn't claw her way out of poverty either. She attended a prestigious private school like Mary Institute and St. Louis Country Day, where tuition is over $30,000 a year, and then Rhodes College for Business and law school at the University of Houston. These women didn't starve under oppression. They flourished in the modern West with its free enterprise, private property, and individual freedoms and liberties. But now they bite the hand that fed them, pushing policies that would destroy it all. AOC criticized Marco Rubio's Munich address and his calls for an embrace of Western culture. Here's something she said.
It's also important to note how thin that foundation is. Culture is changing. Culture always changed. Culture for the entire history of human civilization has been a fluid, evolving thing that is a response to the conditions that we live in. And so they want to take this mantle of culture. At the end of the day, though, it is very thin. And so the response that we have to have is, again, it's material, it's class-based, it's common interest. There was certainly more openness to what I was saying than probably there would be in years past. We can't underestimate the appeal of going back to these well-worn grooves. A lot of what we talk about when we talk about a class-based internationalist perspective also means ending the hypocrisy towards the global South.
Yes, she's an imbecile, and she's also dangerous because she could be elected president of these United States. You think I'm wrong? Keep watching. Many times she claims there's nothing more important than embracing some cultures, Latino, Black, and the list goes on, but she doesn't want anyone embracing Western culture. And she's going to get a ton of money when she runs for president, and she will. Her critique of Western culture as thin is unbelievable. And Robert Barron, a bishop, has issued a statement that calls her out on it. Here he is.
First of all, that Western culture, as Rubio invoked it, is thin, the culture that gave us all those great figures, that gave us the rule of law, that gave us respect for the rights of the individual, that gave us our democratic political system, that gave us the university system. That's thin. And your argument is, well, because cultures always change. Well, that's a banality. I mean, of course, cultures are alive. They change and evolve. Doesn't mean for a second we can't identify the key elements within a culture that gives it its character.
Now, there's something even more devious about AOC's critique. She's pretending like her ideas are common sense, but they're not. She's quoting someone else, someone controversial. Here's more from the bishop.
To characterize culture as thin is a Marxist move. Marx said that culture is simply an epiphenomenal superstructure on top of the economic substructure. And don't be distracted, therefore, by the culture. That's just protecting the economics at bottom. Well, again, listen to her. Let's pay attention to the material conditions and to class struggle. Again, that's the Marxist playbook. What's worrying me, everybody, is the extent to which political leadership on the left in America is becoming, it's unapologetically Marxist. The mayor of New York City, the warmth of collectivism. He's calling for the confiscation of private property, of seizing the means of production. All language right out of the Communist Manifesto. Might I encourage followers of, Mayor Mamdani and AOC, talk to some of them. They're still alive, some of them. The people that fled Marxist tyranny in Europe. People laboring under it to this day in Cuba, North Korea, Venezuela.
I've talked to some of those people. I've heard from them. Just the other day, I met a woman from Colombia who says she wishes the United States would do the same thing in her country as it did in Venezuela. I heard the same thing from a woman I know from Mexico. They wish the United States would free them from the shackles of cartels and socialism because the people always want freedom. AOC, Mamdani, Jasmine Crockett, they don't know what they're espousing, or maybe they do, and that's worse. But they've never lived under the boot of real socialism, the surveillance states, the secret police, the forced labor. They've sipped lattes in Brooklyn cafes, tweeted from iPhones made by capitalist innovation, and climbed the ranks in a democracy that lets them speak freely. A wealth tax? That's just a gateway drug to full-on government control where the state decides who gets what and how much, and innovation dies. It's a philosophical pipe dream. This is just old-fashioned communism dressed up as equity or justice, but history screams the truth. It leads to tyranny and poverty and mass murder every single time. In the end, freedom wins every single time. Look at America, built on capitalism, individual ruggedness, ingenuity, and liberty. We've lifted billions of people out of poverty worldwide through free markets and free ideas. The Berlin Wall fell not because of some socialist surge, because people yearned to breathe free. Republicans know this. Make America great again means protecting the system that works, not importing failure. So to AOC, Crockett, and the rest, wake up. Your ideas are as bankrupt as the regimes you admire. Freedom isn't a dream. It's a reality that's built the greatest nation on earth, this one. And that's the monologue. Coming up after the break, nuclear talks between the U.S. and Iran heat up in Geneva as Tehran tries to flex its military muscle and mocks America. More details straight ahead.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
Hi, my name's Paul Foyer. I'm 404 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
This is Giselle Chaffin. I'm from North Carolina. I'd like to let you know that RAV News is the best news. Number one news. Truth seekers seek to find the truth. It'll set you free.
Nuclear talks between the United States and Iran resumed today in Geneva, Switzerland, after negotiations that began earlier this month entered a critical new phase. As discussions restarted, Iran's supreme leader publicly taunted President Donald Trump and mocked the United States, even as Tehran claims it wants a deal. At the same time, reports show that Iran launched military drills in the Strait of Hormuz, flexing its muscles while U.S. forces, including an American aircraft carrier group, continue operations in the region. President Trump is signaling that America will negotiate from a position of power, with a reinforced military presence in the region and a clear warning that the U.S. will act if necessary. Joining me to discuss this, national security analyst and vice president of the Lexington Institute, Rebecca Grant. Rebecca, welcome back to the program. My concern here is, well, quite frankly, I don't trust the Iranians. And at this point, and since 1979, why would I? Where are we, do you think?
Of course, don't trust the Iranians, and that's why we've got the USS Abraham Lincoln operating there. It's funny that they tried to close, quote unquote, the Straits of Hormuz. You know the Lincoln watched all of that. There's usually a Chinese ship watching, several destroyers, both ours and those of our allies, plus more assets up in the Eastern Mediterranean in case Iran tries anything there. But where we are is President Trump's made very clear he wants to talk. He's trying to get Iran to agree to a deal. But at the same time, there is such a preponderance of U.S. military power in that region. It's pressuring the Ayatollah, and it's also keeping open the option to do a limited set of strikes, for example, against Iran's ballistic missile production areas if the talks don't go well.
Now, one of the problems we've had in the past, as you know, Rebecca, is the denial of international inspectors coming in to look at Iran's nuclear programs and so forth. That's always been a sticking point. It's created problems in the past. So if Iran makes a deal and then denies access to international observers and inspectors, do we have a deal at all? I'm just gaming out what we've been through before. Your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. And the UN watchdog, Rafael Grossi, who is really an energetic individual, he's the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency. He actually talked with a senior Iranian diplomat. And here's what has to happen. Iran has never accounted for the amount of enriched uranium it holds at 60%. Now, we blew up their ability to make it into a bomb quickly, but they've still got to have that uranium inspected and accounted for. And it would be Grossi and the UN that would be doing that. But Iran has not agreed to do this since Midnight Hammer last summer. And they basically got to say yes to these inspections. I think that is absolutely the core of the deal. Of course, Iran wants sanctions relief. And then President Trump has long wanted them to curtail their ballistic missile and space launch research and programs. But you're right, international inspections absolutely must take place.
Yeah, let me ask you this. China's obviously deeply involved in Iran. They were deeply involved in Venezuela. Big setback for them in that nation 6 weeks ago. What is China's role in the Iran regime today, do you think?
They buy Iran's oil. They sell Iran sodium perchlorate, which is a chemical used to make the fuel for solid rocket motors for ballistic missiles. Now, they are a little bit, they don't think Iran is the best possible partner either. They've limited their investment, but there's no question that China's complacence and purchase of Iran's sanctioned oil is keeping the Ayatollah in power. And that's fine with Iran. They've also done naval exercises between China and Iran quite recently. And so China's just letting it ride and creating trouble like they always do.
Yeah, what a surprise. All right, let's talk about another regime on the ropes, Cuba. I don't know if they can make it another 6 weeks. They're out of jet fuel. Electricity is being rationed. They canceled the cigar festival. I mean, that's how bad it is in Cuba. They canceled the cigar festival because there's no electricity, no power, no raw materials. This would be another setback for China. China's not doing very well on the global map right now. Venezuela, Iran, if they make a deal with America, it changes the trajectory. And if Cuba falls, which I believe they will, man, China's lost some influence in the world. Your thoughts?
Oh, yes. And don't forget, China has at least 4 clandestine listening posts in Cuba. You remember Russia has a naval base there, a lot of activity, but China is there as well. They use that to try to spy on U.S. military operations and facilities. So this would be another case of China losing influence, which is what we want to see. We want to see Chinese influence swept out of the Western Hemisphere. Venezuela, a good start on that. Of course, Secretary Rubio's success with Panama a year ago in getting Panama to stop Belt and Road. You know, Wang Yi, the Chinese foreign minister, was actually at Munich along with everybody else, didn't get a lot of press. He just said, oh, we got to stop the Cold War rhetoric. But people are seeing that China's offers of economic assistance are really hollow, but we've got to push back on their military capabilities, too.
Yeah, let me ask you this. If Cuba falls, what does it mean going forward for the island nation? I think that would be the end of the communist failure that began about 1959 or 1960. And it would potentially set up another country seeking freedom for its people. Maybe I'm being too optimistic, Rebecca. I'll give you the last word, but boy, the people in Venezuela are happy. I mentioned here earlier in the program, I talked to a woman from Colombia, said, I wish the United States would do for us what they did for Venezuela. A Mexican woman I know said the same thing about Mexico. Please come in and get rid of the cartels that wreck our lives. People always want freedom. I don't know where it goes from here. I'll give you the last word.
I want to see a new day for Cuba. Trump's plan, squeeze them economically. And then the first thing you'd see if that government fell was a rush of U.S. businesses. Heck, there'd be a Google AI data center in Cuba before you knew it, and a nice casino and a thriving economy.
Havana could be a world-class city again like it was in 1959. People flocked to Havana back in the day. It'd be nice. Mm-hmm. Rebecca Grant, always a good conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. All
right. After the break, we'll have more here on America's Voice Live. Appreciate you being here. Always supporting Real America's Voice. I'll be right back.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
There was a cover-up.
Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy. It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Hi, my name is Tracy Elk with Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
Flash a source in the chat. I love Real America's Voice because I can watch news being delivered to me.
The 84-year-old mother of Savannah Guthrie, Nancy Guthrie, still missing, 17 days on now. And President Trump has warned that there will be severe consequences for the perpetrators if she's not returned in good health, i.e. alive. When asked if the death penalty should be sought, he affirmed the possibility. The FBI is working with the local sheriff on DNA evidence, surveillance footage, and a recently found glove. But we know now the DNA in the glove does not match the DNA in the house. There have been at least 2 ransom notes, maybe more, but no confirmed proof of life. Our RAV field correspondent Kevin Posobiec is in Tucson with the latest. Kevin, I understand some activity at the house here just in the last few minutes, some breaking news. What can you tell us?
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, Steve. So just about 15 minutes ago, this is developing a break in the story today in that 2 vehicles came to the house and a briefcase was brought inside. And just as I was approaching, I got some on camera. I just put it on my profile. And one man came out, approached the sheriff's truck behind me and said that they got it. Okay. So we're seeing that. And, then after they left, they left in a white pickup truck that looked very similar to what was accompanying the bomb squad truck on Friday night, the 13th. So we're waiting to see a follow-up. And also, Steve, we had a woman pull up moments after that truck left, get out of another car. I believe it would be a detective or perhaps the PIO, Public Information Officer for Pima County. And she spoke with the sheriff's truck who's on guard here. And they spoke for about 10 minutes. And then she walked off the property and then collected the mail of Nancy's mailbox as well. So that is all happening in just the past 15 minutes.
They got it. What is it? Do we have any idea, any insight at all? They got it. That's pretty, sounds important, but it's awfully vague.
It is awfully vague. I have to agree, Steve. And we're trying to just deliver what we are being told with the evidence. There's mass reports of misinformation and a bit of a wild goose chase with all these leads. So I can only speculate a bit. I'm sure it's related to any DNA evidence. This could also be linked to the ransom note that we just got through local news there, and it could be tied to that. Maybe they're in some private communication and said, "Hey, I want to confirm this is us, so I'm going to tell you where something is in the house." Perhaps. All right, let me just ask you this, Kevin, before I let you go. Look, it's been 17 days. I don't have any illusions this is going to end well. I'm not sure anybody does. But what's the mood there, the people around the house? Are they optimistic at all that this will end in a good way? Last question to you. I got to say, in my experience, some of the neighbors, they come and just lay flowers. It is a somber mood, I got to say, amongst locals, and, hesitant to speak on it. This is a relatively nice, quiet neighborhood, so most people are trying to just put the blinders on here, it seems. I haven't seen any follow-up vigils or any search parties being formed from the neighborhood itself. So that's what leaves it to us, the media, to help out law enforcement if we can with any tips or video content moving forward.
Kevin Posobiec live in Tucson. Maybe a break in the case. We'll have to find out what it is. Kevin, thank you for the update. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Steve. Thanks for having me. I will definitely keep you.
All right, international disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There's a never-ending list of reasons gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years, and a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold. More than any other commodity on earth, gold thrives during uncertainty, which is why it's a crucial part of a balanced strategy. Gives you peace of mind, given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered account is good for you and right for you. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text America to the number 989898 and receive your free information kit on gold. There is no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of satisfied, happy customers, Birch Gold can help you diversify with gold so you too can have peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty. Text America to 989898. Again, text America to 989898. Do that today. Coming up after the break, a Rhode Island hockey game turned deadly Monday as Robert Dorgan, who identified as a woman, as you can see there, tied to his family and transgender disputes, opened fire, killing his ex-wife and one of his sons. A horrible, horrible crime. We'll be right back with details.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
There was a cover-up.
Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Hi, my name is Tracy Elk, Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
Flash a source in the chat. I love Real America's Voice because I can watch news being delivered to me.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
On Monday, a man opened fire at a Rhode Island hockey rink. It left 2 people dead, his ex-wife and one of his own sons. 3 others are hospitalized, not in good condition. The shooter, identified now as 56-year-old Robert Dorgan, also known as Roberta Esposito. Esposito had a long history of family conflict tied to his gender identity, as court records show disputes and divorce proceedings connected to his transition and his transgender lifestyle. Police report that Dorgan posted threats online the night before, reacting to debates over transgender issues and warning of violent consequences, which we just saw yesterday. Joined to discuss this is former DHS advisor and CEO of Sentinel, Charles Marino. Charles, welcome to the program. Look, I'm not a big fan of red flag laws, but they have them in Rhode Island. Strict red flag laws. This guy had a long history of mental illness, of family disputes, of domestic violence and other issues, and yet somehow he obtained firearms apparently legally before pulling off this horrendous crime. Looks like the red flag laws failed the people of Rhode Island. Your thoughts?
Well, they did fail, and they'll continue to fail as long as people in the United States are accepting of this type of behavior as normal. I mean, look, solving any problem, what do they say? First, you have to identify the problem. And this is a significant mental health crisis in this country. and outside of this country, quite frankly. We just saw a horrific mass shooting in Canada. Now we're seeing it again here in the United States. We've seen this over and over again. We know what the problem is. The problem is undiagnosed mental illness related to transgenderism, and we've got to step in, we've got to call it as we see it, and we've got to solve this problem. Look, not every location can afford to have a security apparatus in place, like at a hockey rink, where you've got magnetometers put in place and security personnel and police departments. You know, this is expensive, and police departments are short on resources. So let's identify the problem and get out in front of it.
You said undiagnosed mental illness, but from what I've been reading and the reports I've been going through, says he was diagnosed with a variety of problems. And he had a gender transition surgeries in 2020. This is a long simmering problem. Apparently getting the surgery didn't prevent him from becoming a cold-hearted killer who killed his ex-wife and one of his own sons. And I agree with you. We have got to stop embracing mental illness and coddling people who are obviously dangerous. You mentioned the shooting in Canada. I can go to the Nashville shooting at the Catholic Church of little kids, and the list is much longer than that, as you know, Charles. It is time for some proactive moves in government and in the culture, frankly. Your thoughts?
Well, and it's ultimately politicians and state and local governments that are going to enforce these red flag laws. And as long as they are too afraid to call this problem what it is, then these red flag laws, they're not going to work. You're not going to have all of these safety mechanisms that are built into the system all the way down to the American public raising their hands and saying, look, we got a big problem here. You better get out in front of this before it breaks bad. Too many people are afraid to speak out. They don't want to be villainized, right? They don't want to be called out on social media as being called homophobic or against transgender issues. That's not what we're talking about here. You've got to call this as we see it, and it's a significant problem. It's not going anywhere. We know that blue states continue to embrace transgenderism in its totality, and we're going to see these events over and over again.
Until we address them, you're exactly right. Charles, thank you for being here as always. Just another horrific act of violence that was, I believe, avoidable. Charles Marino, thank you.
Yes.
Now, before we go to break, I'd like to remind you that Real America's Voice has a brand new edition, On the Inside, with James O'Keefe. It'll air every Saturday at noon Eastern. Be sure to tune in to see the stories that the mainstream media just doesn't touch. America's Voice Live will continue after a brief break. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
There was a cover-up.
Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Hi, my name is Tracy Elk with Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
Flash a source in the chat. I love Real America's Voice because I can watch news being delivered to me.
One of the most entertaining things I've seen in the last few days happened in Munich. A Czech politician took a wrecking ball to Hillary Clinton's comments at the Munich Security Conference on Western civilization over the weekend. The former Secretary of State kept interrupting him until she was told to let him talk. Watch this exchange.
Well, first, I think you really don't like him.
You know, that is absolutely true. But I really, not only do I not like him, I don't like him because of what he's doing to the United States and the world. And I think you should take a hard look at it if you think that there is something good that will come out of it.
Well, what I think Trump is doing in America, I think it is reaction for something that for some policies that really went too far from the regular people, too far from reality. So, you know, we saw the cancel culture. We saw the woke revolution. I don't agree with the gender revolution, the climate alarmism.
Which gender? Women having their rights?
Let Peter go on. I think there are two genders. So, but some of us think that there is more than one or more than two gender. I think there is male and female, and the rest probably is a social construct. So this is something that went too far.
But does that justify selling out the people of Ukraine who are on the front lines dying to save their freedom and their two genders? If that's what you're worried about?
Can I please finish my points? I'm sorry that it makes you nervous. I'm really sorry for that.
It makes me nervous. It makes me.
Does make her nervous. She got challenged by a guy who called her out for her BS. Join me to discuss is legal expert, host of the What's Right show, Sam Rajowski. Sam actually has, by the way, dual citizenship with the United States and the Czech Republic. Sam, welcome to the program. So you have some kinship with this fella who is dressing down the former Secretary of State.
Yeah, Steve, good to see you. Yeah, this was great TV. I enjoyed every second of it, and I've rewatched it, I think, maybe eight or nine times now. So Peter Matsinka is a Czech politician. His party has just come out the victor of the most recent elections. They are a center-right party. They are a Trump-aligned party, you could say. And they are absolutely taking a wrecking ball to the global order. And, you know, you can tell he's a smart guy now. He's the foreign minister. So he's there at this Munich Security Conference. And Hillary Clinton tried her little weak, stupid, gender baiting stuff on this guy. And he didn't give her an inch. And I loved it.
Yeah, he didn't give her an inch at all. And, you know, she's just trying to cut him off. She's just rude. All right. And that's the way she is whenever challenged. Right. But another point in the conversation, she said that open borders create chaos. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but Hillary Clinton admitting that the Democrat position of open borders was a bad idea. And boy, has she gotten blowback from the left on that one too, hasn't she?
Well, she sure has. And I want to point out, obviously, that her party and people around, the Western world who are aligned with Democrats here in the U.S. are the architects of this, right? We had an open border here for 4 years. Look at how great that went. Europe has had an open border for 20 years, and it's literally the end of Western civilization. But the most important takeaway from this clip for every one of your viewers is to understand that the mainstream media lies about how Trump has turned the U.S. into an international pariah is complete nonsense. there are politicians who win elections in countries like the Czech Republic who literally run as pro-Trump, as Trump-aligned, and people there are voting for them. They're getting into power. Now, it's going to take a little bit of time in Germany, but, you know, Poland, the Czech Republic, Hungary, and large amounts of Western European citizens are voting for center-right parties that have similar platforms to what Trump ran on. So, you know,
Absolutely
this idea
true.
that we are pariahs
and one
is
more
nonsense.
thing. Yeah, one more thing, Sam. Look at the number of countries in the Western Hemisphere that have ditched socialism to elect people that are like Trump, populist, right-of-center leaders. Argentina, El Salvador, Costa Rica, Honduras, the list goes on. There is a movement toward Trump, not away from Trump, toward freedom, not toward tyranny and socialism. Cuba's about to fall. Venezuela's already improving. In fact, I said this earlier in the program. I spoke to a Colombian woman just in the last couple of days who said, I wish Trump would do that for our country. A woman from Mexico said, I wish he would do that for our country and get rid of the cartels. People want to be free and not under the boot of government or cartels or any other tyrannical leader. And that's a fact, isn't it?
It is. And the best example of this is within one country, now united. But once upon a time, there was an East and West Germany. And if you look at the German electoral map from the last election, the right-wing party, the AfD, that's championed by Elon Musk and others, the AfD did great in Eastern Germany, in the areas of the country that used to be under Soviet occupation. The people that experience socialism, the people that see up front and personal the perils of left-wing orthodoxy and totalitarianism, want nothing to do with it and are running toward the right. And you know, it's something we need to remember here in the U.S.
There you go. Sam, always a good talk, my friend. Enjoy the sun in Las Vegas.
Thanks. Good to be with you, Steve.
Good to be with you. Are you worried about what's in your water? If not, then, well, maybe you should be. You know, nationwide testing shows that high levels of harmful contaminants and dangerous chemicals are in drinking water in every state coast to coast. Well, what can you do about it? That's always a big question. Installing a whole house water filtration system is a great way to be proactive and protect your family from these harmful cancer-causing agents. Freedom Whole House Water Systems, made right here in America. It's the world's best whole house water filtration system. Maintenance-free means no salt to add, no filters to change ever. Just clean alkaline water from every faucet in your house. And now is a great time to get one. Scan the barcode or go to the website, freedomwatersystems.com, freedomwatersystems.com. Put in the promo code SKIP26, SKIP26. You'll get $1,000 off your Freedom Whole House water filter system today. All right, after the break, we'll have a story that reminds us of how wonderful America is, plus answers to the question of the day, which is this. Are you giving up anything for Lent this year? We'll hear about it after the break.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
There was a cover-up.
Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bio-arms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Hi, my name is Tracy Elf Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
Flash a source in the chat. I love Real America's Voice because I can watch news being delivered to me.
What makes America wonderful? We do it every day with the hope of putting a smile on your face. Today's story comes to us from Kelso, Washington, where a first grade teacher brought her students' art projects to life. Before winter break, first grade teacher at Wallace Elementary, Ashley Lowry, tasked her kids with a simple project: design a winter hat with colored stripes, and furthermore, the kids could add a puffball on top if they chose. While the kids went on winter break, Ashley and her aunt Amy got to work as Ashley brought every one of her students' designs to Amy so that she could hand knit every strand of yarn into the hat that's reflective of the students' designs. So that's pretty cool. After some time, the finished product was delivered and stored in the kids' desk drawers while they were out at recess. And before the school day ended, the kids got to see their design quite literally come to life, making for a nice memento from a teacher who truly cares and puts in the extra effort. Taking the time to form memories in the developing years of a child's life, always a nice gesture, but Ashley and Amy Lowry's efforts to give that bunch of kids something tangible goes well above and beyond. It reminds me of what makes America wonderful today. All right, it is Fat Tuesday. I don't know what you celebrate like where you are, but here there's a Polish tradition of punchkis. Punchkis, these ridiculously giant filled donuts, and I'm going to indulge on those as soon as this program's over. So after that, we're giving up stuff for Lent. How about you? Mike McLaughlin, trying again to relent on my cynicism. It's not going to be easy. Mike, I don't think that counts. You know, getting up, not being cynical. I don't know. Marcy telling Posma, I want to give up Facebook so bad, but I've said for like 3 years I'm going to do it, and I've never done it. Addiction at its finest. You can do this. Just don't give up my page. Minnesota Lady Jane, trying to keep up with my regular fasting. Well, that's important. Tina Ray says, I'm going to stop worrying without formulating a plan. When it comes to politics, it's either going to be not my circus, not my monkeys, or what is a tangible positive action that I personally can take? Then take that action and stop worrying. That's pretty good. And Tim Fuller has smoking. Check back at Easter. Tim, nicotine's evil. I'm here to tell you. And Richard Kramer has this. I think I'll give up trying to educate people who are stuck in their biases. It's like trying to convert an atheist by scripture or administering medicine to the dead, as Thomas Paine would say. All right, good answers, everybody. Ash Wednesday tomorrow. So for those of you going to a service, I hope you enjoy it. Be sure to join me tomorrow to start your Ash Wednesday with the Steve Gruber Show right here on Real America's Voice to start the broadcast day, and then back here for America's Voice Live a little bit later. Until then.
Welcome to Real America's Voice Real Minute, your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
There was a cover-up.
Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China.
Folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists, and we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For